Hey, it's the Bobby Moe Show. I'm Chris Shublin, the play-by-play voice of the Robert Morris University football and basketball teams. And it is time for the Bobby Moe Show to talk about Robert Morris University women's track and field. We've got two of the big stars, and we'll do that coming up in just a little bit. The Bobby Moe Show this week is provided by Dollar Energy Fund. Stay with us. This winter, many families in our area are struggling to make ends meet and keep their homes warm. You can make a difference by making a donation to Dollar Energy Fund. Your contribution will be matched dollar for dollar by Dollar Energy Fund's utility partners, and 100% of all donations will be used to help local families maintain or restore basic utility services. No one should have to face a Pittsburgh winter in the cold. Help spread the warmth to your neighbors in need and donate today at dollarenergy.org. As promised, we have a couple of track and field stars from the Robert Morris University women's track and field team with us today. And we're going to speak first with Tara Gulligram from RMU's track and field team. She was named the Horizon League Field Athlete of the Week a couple of weeks back, but also has had some spectacular results at some of the meets that the Colonial women's track team has been involved in. She added a program record to her tally at the Mountaineer Invitational, and we could talk a little bit about this, but first and foremost, welcome to the Bobby Moe Show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Let's talk about some of the achievements that you've had so far this season alone, and I know they've been some major achievements.
Yeah. So I broke the long jump record. My jump was 19 feet, 7.5 inches. It's about, I think, 9 inches farther than the previous record is set in 2008. And then during the indoor season, I also broke the long jump record, which was also set in 2008 with a jump of 18.11 and 3/4. And then as a team, our 4x1 relay broke a record that's been set since, I believe, 98. So it was a close one, but we still managed to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great accomplishment. I mean, we're talking about a quarter century ago that record was set. And my understanding is the Colonials clocked in at 47.23 seconds, and that broke the old mark of 47.55, established, as you said, in 1998. That was during the ECAC championships, and you ran the opening leg of that, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, talk about your teammates on the rest of the run.
So the second leg is Alicia Moore. She's typically a 400 runner, but she runs a really good second leg of a 4x1. And then we have two freshmen that are third and fourth leg. Hannah McDaniel, she's a freshman. She came from, I think, winning either going first or second in states last year in Pennsylvania, and now she's running here at Robert Morris. And same thing with Maddie Raymond, who runs the anchor leg. She also won states in the 100 last year, so I'm really glad that we have two amazing athletes on that relay.
Tara, talk about the teamwork that goes into running a relay and how demanding the training is.
It is really demanding. I'm just like in any workplace or anything, it's all on communication. So you have to know the type of person, and you have to know the way that they run, the way that their strides hit, and it's all timing and communication. So it takes a while to get that down pat.
Yeah, the communication obviously is important. I mean, you mentioned Alicia has been here for a while, but Hannah and Maddie are rookies, so I guess you had to learn tendencies pretty fast with those two. Yeah,
and honestly, we started practicing a 4x1, like handoffs and everything, a little bit later than we should have, but for learning it and everything in 2 weeks, I'd say we're pretty good at it.
I would say you're pretty good at it, too. You won gold in that one. Of course, you outlasted John Carroll. They clocked in at 48-41 in that same race. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You and I are both Beaver County, and so we're right over the border here from Robert Morris University, and you finished at Hopewell, but you started your high school career at Western Beaver.
Yeah.
Let's talk about going from a smaller school to a bigger school and then to a university, and what kind of progression that's been for you.
So there was actually another jump in between Western Beaver and Hopewell. I went to Keystone Oaks for 2 years.
Okay.
I started pre-K through 9th grade. I was at Western Beaver. It was just a really small school. My mom got a new job, so we moved to Keystone Oaks, and then my mom got another new job after that, and so we had to move to Hopewell. But it was a lot different going from a class of 60 people at Western Beaver, and now being in college, and I graduate in 2 weeks now, and it's crazy to know that there's going to be hundreds of people at graduation.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you and I kind of have the same background. You know, the high school that I went to, I think there were 70 of us or 72 of us or something like that. But that was 1,000 years ago. That was back when high schools were in caves. But anyway, you know, obviously graduation is coming up. You've been a scholar athlete as well. And talk about, you know, mixing the books with athletics and how tough that's been.
I think the important part for me was realizing that I'm a student athlete, not an athlete student. So obviously my studies always come first. Each night after practice, I'll sit down for about an hour or two, or this is like Sundays. I sit down for an hour or two and I figure out my assignments for the week, write them down, put them in my planner, whatever. And then I just pick at them throughout the week with balancing work and everything. If I have a break at work, then that's typically when I work on my homework. And if not, then it's after dinner. But yeah,
what's your degree going to be in?
Organizational leadership with a minor in sport management and biology.
Okay. What do you hope to do?
I want to be a Division I track coach.
Great.
So I'm currently volunteering at a high school, Our Lady of Sacred Heart, working with their jumpers and sprinters just to kind of start getting my feet wet in the aspect of coaching.
That'll get a jump on your career, no doubt about it. Well, congratulations to you for what you've done so far, and continued best wishes in your future. And who knows, you might be the head coach of the Robert Morris track team someday.
That's the hope.
I don't want to put any pressure on your coach. All right, we're going to come back and talk with another star athlete on the Robert Morris women's track and field team, Yessi Valencia. She'll be joining us next right here on the Bobby Moe Show. Don't go anywhere.
When your employer gives you a choice of health plans, choose UPMC Health Plan. You'll have access to the best doctors and hospitals, including the top-ranked care of UPMC and many community hospitals near you. UPMC Health Plan gives you an award-winning healthcare concierge team and a partner who puts you and your health at the center of all we do. Choose what's best. Choose UPMC Health Plan. Visit upmchealthplan.com/best for more information.
It's the Bobby Moe Show here on the RMU Athletics Game Day app. I'm Chris Shovlin. Dylan Thompson is our producer. Many Pittsburgh area families are struggling to afford basic gas, water, and electric services, but you can help your neighbors in need by supporting Dollar Energy Fund. Find out how a small contribution can have a big impact. All you need to do is visit dollarenergy.org today. Well, as promised, we have another star of the Robert Morris University women's track and field team here with us today. She is Yessi Valencia. And Yessi, I'm intrigued by your name, and you were telling me a story off the air about how you've come to be called Yessi. So tell us what your real name is.
Yesenia Valencia.
Okay,
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful name.
Thank you.
But how did you come to be called Yessi?
So when I was really young, a teacher had, sweetest teacher of all time, could not pronounce my name. It was really, really tough on her, and she was just like, "Hey, I know you have a beautiful name. However, I'm just really I'm struggling." And she said, "Can I give you a nickname?" She asked my permission. I said, "Sure, why not?" She was like, "Yessi." I was like, "Okay." So it just stuck with me ever since. Yeah, it just stuck with me ever since. It made it easier.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Does everybody call you Yessi now?
Yep.
Okay, and that's what you go by.
Yep.
That's what you go by. All right. Obviously, we had Tara on in the first part of the Bobby Moe Show here today. We're talking about Robert Morris University women's track and field. And you are a field athlete. And let's talk about all the stuff that you do. And, obviously, it's been a successful year so far for you, too.
Yeah. So I compete for 4 events out of the 5 for the field events in throwing, which is shot put, discus, hammer, and indoor weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously that you're talking about somebody who has to have some really extra strength, but at the same time, there's a lot of footwork involved in that as well.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of footwork, and yet my brain does not compute all that footwork. For some reason, I can still throw it, but we're trying.
Well, I can tell you, I'm a shot putter from high school, and I was horrible. You could probably outthrow me then, and you can probably outthrow me now. But seriously, when you talk about all of the different events, in the field. You're talking about different motions, you're talking about different weights, you're talking about all sorts of different aspects, and I'm sure training for each and every one of them is rather grueling.
Yes, it is, because each movement is different, yet similar in some aspect. For example, a hammer and the indoor weight have the same footwork. It's just a different implement. And then the shot put and discus are the same rotational footwork as well, but different implement, and the way you throw it is completely different. One's really far away, and the other one's very short distance.
Which one's your favorite?
Discus.
Discus is?
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of spinning and heaving when you get right down to it. You right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay. Most discus throwers are right-handed. I've
yes,
seen.
They are.
I mean, it's very, very, very far and few between you see a left-hander out there, but it's an interesting event. There's no doubt about it. So let's talk about training and what it takes. A lot of that is individual. And when we were talking about Tara earlier, hers is pretty much individual as well, but she's in a certain events where there are 3 other athletes participating, but you're pretty much on your own out there. So talk about the training that you go through.
Yeah, like you said, it is very much on your own. It's very individual aspect, strength, motivation especially. It's very hard sometimes. You don't have some good throwing days, it happens. And the lifting aspect of it, when I came out here, I thought I knew how to weight lift, but I didn't. They said, you don't know how to weight lift, let's put some more muscle on you, and we can go from there. So a lot of weightlifting, a lot of strength training, and practicing the same movements every single day. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of brain motor skills to keep on going and keep that motivation as well.
Well, you mentioned brain motor skills, and there's a mental aspect to this as well, whether you're running, whether you're throwing. A lot of this is in your head. You had mentioned some days you throw better than other days, and a lot of that is in your head. Let's talk about being prepared mentally for track and field.
Mentally, you got to be prepared for any outcome, essentially. So you have to come in with the mindset that you will be doing great. It's going to be a good day. You're going to run fast. You're going to throw far. So the mental aspect is always coming in with a positive attitude, essentially to throw far.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You're both involved in indoor and outdoor track, is that correct?
Yes.
What's your favorite? I mean, would you rather be outside or inside?
Outside, because I'm from Arizona, so
Sure.
I need the sun in my face. I need to be able to, it's very pretty to see something go so far.
That for sure is. But the thing is, you said you're from Arizona, and I wanted to talk about the fact that you are from Phoenix originally, and you've gotten here to Robert Morris. We don't see the sun like you do in Phoenix here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no. But you do see humidity over here in comparison to the dry heat that I'm so used to. The 4 seasons is beautiful. I don't get 4 seasons where I'm from. Sure. I get summer and maybe a little bit of spring, but mostly summer every year.
See, most of us from Pittsburgh would rather see what you see, but I get it. I mean, the 4 seasons are beautiful here. There's no question about it. Had you ever seen snow before you got here?
I did. 2 hours up north in Arizona, there is snow. We do have, you can go up north for a little bit and then come back and not have to deal with it.
Yeah, but not in Phoenix.
Not in Phoenix.
Not in Phoenix at all. How did you get here in the first place? How did you get to Robert Morris all the way from the West?
Options. My coaches were really, giving me a lot of insight of all the different colleges that I could attend to, and a lot of West Coast schools did reach out to me. However, I was so used to the West Coast, I wanted to travel to the East. Sure. I said, why not? Let's go somewhere where I've never been before and, make memories.
Well, we're glad you did, and we're glad you're one of the top stars on the Robert Morris University women's track and field roster. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's Yessi Valencia, and we'll come back and put a wrap on this show and get caught up on the scoreboard coming up next right here on the Bobby Moe Show.
This winter, many families in our area are struggling to make ends meet and keep their homes warm. You can make a difference by making a donation to Dollar Energy Fund. Your contribution will be matched dollar for dollar by Dollar Energy Fund's utility partners, and 100% of all donations will be used to help local families maintain or restore basic utility services. No one should have to face a Pittsburgh winter in the cold. Help spread the warmth to your neighbors in need and donate today at dollarenergy.org.
For nearly 4 decades, Dollar Energy Fund has been providing utility assistance to local families in need. Now, when you support Dollar Energy Fund, you help your neighbors maintain safe gas, water, and electric services. Visit dollarenergy.org to donate today. All right, time to wrap up the Bobby Moe Show with a look at the results most recently and the schedule ahead. Let's start with women's lacrosse. They beat Kent State this past Saturday. This week, they host the University of Akron at noon on Saturday. You'll be able to watch that on YouTube if you don't make it out. Men's lacrosse defeated Bellarmine last Saturday in the men's-women's doubleheader that was held here at Joe Walton Stadium. This coming weekend, they'll be at Utah. That'll be Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As far as softball is concerned, they went 2-1 in the 3-game set over Northern Kentucky this past weekend. They'll host IUPUI this coming weekend. Friday at 3 o'clock is the first game. Then they'll play a Saturday doubleheader that starts at 1 o'clock. All 3 contests will be on ESPN+. Make sure you're tuned in. As far as rowing is concerned, they're going to be in Philadelphia on Saturday for the Kerr Cup. Men's golf will be at Wright State's Invitational. That'll be Sunday and Monday. And then women's track and field. We just talked to 2 of the great stars of the team. They'll be in Lewisburg at Bucknell University for the Bison Outdoor Classic, both Saturday and Sunday. Dylan Thompson's our producer. I'm Chris Shovlin, the play-by-play voice of Robert Morris University football and basketball. Thanking you for tuning in to the Bobby Moe Show presented by Dollar Energy Fund. We'll talk to you next week right here.